So this is an interesting one. Take a look at this. This is some serious garage block. Now this is Jack, okay? Jack is a wonderful local builder, and a lot of people see the channel and they say to me, where can we find a builder like you? Believe it or not, there are builders like me. In fact, Jack's on a completely different scale, because whereas I might do just one job, just like this garage that I'm going to help Jack with, Jack will be doing this several times at the same time as well, won't you?
Yes, absolutely.
You've got a lot of fellas?
We've got at the moment 14 people.
Yeah.
14 people and currently 7 projects.
Yeah.
And they can go from minor to majors.
Yeah.
So we always tend to run about 3 or 4 major projects and all the others slot in afterwards.
Yeah, it's incredible actually. When I consider, I've been in the building game all my life and I've run a lot of jobs, but I'd never have anything other than one big one at a time. So I take my hat off to you for that one.
Thank you.
But equally, it means that Jack's big enough to actually call people like me in. He's got loads of artisans who will come in. So I'm here with Jack to do this garage block. So yes, it's a garage block. It's huge, but
it's enormous.
Yeah, it's enormous. And it's going to be 2 6-metre square garages, which are on a slight angle to one another with a beautiful walkway. There's going to be lots of oak in it, lovely oak cladding, oak doors, oak beams. It's going to look phenomenal, mate, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so we'll take you on the journey, I think. And
Yes.
as I say, you've got to learn all about Jack. We'll have another look at all the stuff he does as we go on as well. And some of his team, which are incredible as well.
Yes, thank you.
All right, mate.
Yeah, thank you.
Better crack on, haven't we?
Yes, absolutely.
The very first job for me here is just to literally check the setting out. So I've got a drawing, obviously, of the garage originally from when, you know, we price it all up. And then what we do is we put it onto CAD. That goes off to a setting out guy to make sure everything is in the right place. You can just see the pins here, and there's a few marks. So the whole place is set out. So I've just literally come in here to run my tape over it as well. And it all looks good. So the next job will be, the guys will dig the foundations. They'll concrete the foundations. Once you start digging, obviously, you're going to take the pins out. So you've got to make sure you mark out. But what the guys have done is where they've got these sort of temporary boards at the backs of the dig, you can also see that they've pulled the lines of these through, and they've put a blue mark on them just to make sure that they know where they are. So it's quite clever, and they've done that everywhere. So you'll see everywhere I look, they've pulled lines through as well. It's quite interesting. So there's 2 garages. If I stand up here, there's one in this position, and then there's one in this position over here, and then there's a walkway in between. We're going to be using some really nice oak to make some big trusses for the actual main roof. It's a steep pitch. We're going to have an oak walkway that goes in between as well. It's going to be really quite detailed. So yeah, I'm looking forward to making this one up. Probably go down the workshop, show you around there, what we've got going on there. And of course, we'll be out on site, cutting the roofs in, building it all, building all the walls. Off the brickwork, we've got a short bit of brickwork, about 700mm up, and a slab. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this job. So I've come back outside, it's been a couple of weeks, and Jack and his lads have done amazingly. They've got all of the foundations in, all the concrete work. They're putting their trench blocks round, which gets them to a certain level where they'll start their face work. Okay, they'll have a couple of courses up to DPC, and then they'll come up with around about 8 courses of bricks. The bricks they're using are beautiful handmade imperial bricks that match the existing property. And they've set it all out, and I'm actually here now just to run over the setting out, although they didn't really need my help. Of course, these guys, Dan and Alfie, are Jack's brickies. They're always on the firm. They know exactly what they're doing. They do a lovely job too. So yeah, so basically my site visit today is just to have a little look at the scale and the dimensions and just check a few things, because we're also making the joinery, the garage doors, the pedestrian doors. So it's important that I manage to check all of those dimensions now, because we're forward ordering the material. We're going to get them down to the workshop, and we're going to start making those just in about 4 or 5 weeks time, once we've got the frame up and we can get those final dimensions between our timber work. So it's looking good. All of the ground will then be made up to the right levels using some of the spoil over there, and then we're off. We'll be over here. We'll start by building our perimeter walls. We'll get those all studded up. We'll get on our OSB, which is our sheathing, which keeps it nice and solid. We've got then a bat safe membrane. This is something new that I haven't used before. This membrane is breathable. It's very strong, and the idea is that bats, they can't get through it, and basically with a normal breather membrane, the bats can actually get sort of tangled up in this, and as a protective species, you really don't want that. So bats shouldn't be able to get in anyway if we've got all of our ventilation gaps properly ventilated off. You know, with a mesh, they won't get behind the cladding, but bats and other creatures are very creative. They've only got to find the slightest little gap and they'll get in. So it's all about making sure, you know, you make the environment as safe as possible for those little creatures as well. And yes, we're going to be basically doing that, getting the frameworks round. We're in conjunction with that in the workshop. We'll be doing the oak trusses that sit from front to back. And then we'll be pitching the roofs. So we'll be cutting the roofs on site here. And then we've got the oak roof, which goes in between. That'll happen after we've built the main roofs. We'll get those on, probably get those in the dry, get some sarking felt on those as well. Gives us somewhere dry to work. So yeah, let's have a little look at what the lads have been doing. Great though, aren't they? What a great invention, the trench block.
Yeah.
I can remember when I started out in the building game in the 80s, very few people, well, I don't think trench blocks were actually widely used then. It was always, you know, 2 courses, have to fill it back up with concrete up to about 150 below damp, didn't you? And now these are great. I mean, they're lumpy though, aren't they?
They are, yeah. Big boys.
But it's great because they're so sharp, they've got such sharp arises, and so getting these dimensions absolutely perfect is a piece of cake. And I know that it takes a lot more than a sharp aris on a brick to get something right, but they are a fantastic invention if you ask me. So here we go. This is the scale of it. They're around about 6 meters deep from front to back, and 6 meters wide is the actual garage part, if you like. Then we've got an interesting detail here where part of the garage underneath the oak walkway actually goes off on a squint. So where these 2 buildings are set out with an angle to one another, these then run through parallel with any corner, if you like, that corner and that corner, if you took a line through and measured back parallel. And this creates the walkway, which is going to be absolutely beautiful. A lot of oak in this, oak rafters. Yeah, it's going to be great. So my next visit here will be when the guys start running all their facework round. Dan and Alfie have got it all mapped out there, which is very straightforward, making it all work perfectly for these imperial bricks. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'll leave them to it and be back once they start on that. Right, back out on site, and the lads have made some fantastic progress. It's literally less than a week since I've been here last, and I think they've got the back broken of this imperial brickwork. They are literally almost there. A few more courses, and then they've got the specials. The specials are a brick with an aris, if you like, so where the facework finishes and our work starts, it gives it a nice transition between the 2. So it's looking absolutely mint. So the idea is they're going to get it up to this position, they'll get their specials round, and then they'll do their drainage. They're going to put some drainage in, of course, off to a soakaway. It's looking beautiful. It's just like looking at an old traditional building, this. We've got these lovely imperial bricks. It looks absolutely mint. Quite an interesting shape. You can see that this is the garage orientation here. It's mirrored with this one here. And then you've got the walkway which bisects those angles going through. So a couple more days on the brickwork this week, and then they'll be putting the specials round, preparing the drainage, getting all of the build-up done for their slabs inside, if you like, the garage floors. They'll go in, we'll land our timber, and we'll start working on our bit, which is everything above this face brickwork effectively. And while we're out on site starting all the walls and getting all of those bits done, in the workshop, the oak king post trusses will be assembled or made, jointed together and made. So we'll get into there as well and do a bit with them. But it's absolutely beautiful. The bricks are beautiful. They've got a lovely colour to them. Really look nice. They didn't look so good when I looked at them in the packs. They never do. But when you get them laid so nicely like this with this struck pointing, yeah, fantastic. Well, what can I say? I'm back out on site and Dan and Alfie have finished all the brickwork. They've got all of their specials round. That's all the bricks with the bevels. And it looks amazing. So all I've had to do today is run my tape over it and my laser level to check my datums, because the next job on this build will be landing my timber, getting it all on site and start to build it. We're also going to be in the workshop as well, whilst I'm out on site, doing the oak parts as well, which land on top of the structure that I'm going to be building. So make sure you stick around for this project. It's going to be fantastic. We'll try to bring you what we can of it. And yeah, keep tuned.